So tell us, if you want the rest of your journey, bro, how you finished off your time, the things you've done for yourself to prepare yourself for this next chapter out here with us. And you know what I'm saying? Let's walk down through there. Let me know what you got going on, bro, and how you got there.
All right. Well, uh, I mentioned auto suggestion. Some people
Hmm.
call it positive affirmations, right?
Right.
I forget what article I was reading about that, but there was a particular article that really touched me deep. And I ended up reading more articles on it. I had my bro send me in articles. Now I'm reading articles and from psychological journals and you know what I mean, things like that. And it was one of them was talking about auto suggestion, and the guy mentioned a book by Napoleon Hill. Um, Help me out. You know the name.
Which
Think
one?
and Grow
Think and
Rich.
Grow Rich.
Think and Grow
Yeah, that's the
Rich.
most popular one. There-
Yes.
there- yeah.
So what I learned about auto suggestion and how you can literally rewire your subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind, everything that you do consciously is because of what's embedded in you subconsciously, right? Autopilot. The conscious moves on autopilot based upon everything that has been ingrained into the subconscious. So I said, okay, I can rewire this
Mhm.
subconscious, by telling myself the
Yes.
same thing over and over and over and over again. And that's what I began to do. That was the
Yeah,
first step for me was,
that's
huh?
one way. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
one
that's
way.
one
Yeah.
way for sure. And that's the path that I chose, and I began to just tell myself this that I'm gonna be because I wanted to be a writer. I'm going to be the greatest. I am the greatest writer of my generation. I am the greatest writer of my generation. I'm the greatest writer of my generation. And I start to consume books on writing like Skittles. And I began to write and write and write. And there was a gentleman by the name of Tone. They called him that because he was from San Antonio. Biggest
Right.
triceps I ever seen in my life, man. Tone
Yeah.
told me, old school dude, right? About 60 years old, he said, you know what, I see what you're doing, I see all the studying you're doing, you're learning on your own, but you need to get in college. They have these college programs in prison. I said, okay. A couple weeks go by. I said, man, did you do anything about that? No. He ends up putting it in for me, right? Making sure that I
That's
filled
nice.
it out, sent it off
Yeah,
for me. Shout out to Tone.
for real.
Not long after, I ended up at the Win unit for Lee College.
Okay, it's good college.
Now, yeah, I earned 2 degrees there, one in microcomputer applications, one in business management. But
Woo. Congrats.
thank you.
Salute.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that, brother. And my mind was focused on, though, more than anything, speech and English, because I knew I wanted to be a writer, right? So all my time with the with the subtraction of minor hiccups and sometimes major hiccups,
Mhm.
the majority of my time was spent on honing my craft as a writer and as a speaker. And
Wow.
in doing so, long story short, I ended up getting referred to the Echo Prison newspaper
Yes.
for a staff writing job as and a journalist job as with because
Which is headquartered on the wind farm, right?
it's headquartered on the wind farm.
Straight in.
Miss Kaiser, the managing editor, she asked Professor Honeywell if she can refer just one student, past or present, to work for the Echo, because it's a staff of only 8
Okay.
for the whole prison
System.
system,
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy.
And she said, Miss Honeywell said, Hendrix, hands down. So she comes and she tells me about it. I apply for it. I get the job. Um, I thought about it for a second though, because I said, okay, well, how would this assist me in writing novels and in, writing self-help books, which I'm a published author now of a self-help book for
Awesome, man.
prisoners, for
Yes.
prisoners, right?
That's awesome, bro. Love it.
And
Yeah.
you know, it's a matter of fact, it's the book right
Yeah.
here, man.
Yeah. Yeah. You got
Um,
to tell me the name of that.
a compass state of mind,
Okay.
how to
Okay.
successfully navigate the rough waters of incarceration.
How to
You know,
successfully navigate the rough waters of
navigate the rough
incarceration.
waters
Okay.
of incarceration. I
Where can
use
that be
it
found at, bro?
on Amazon.
That's on Amazon?
Yes, it is on
Okay.
Amazon.
Well,
And
y'all
I
know
will,
that's going to be good. Yeah.
yeah, I'll send you the link, man. I mean, I put my
Yes.
heart and my soul into that book. But the reason why I wrote it is because uh, while I was incarcerated, I became big brother to a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
And as I was coming closer to parole, I had guys asking me, "Hey, you're gonna leave us in here dry? Which we need something from you. You're a writer. You work for the Echo. You write articles. You're a published author
Yeah.
already. You have published articles. Leave us something." So I decided to go ahead and write this book, A Compass State of Mind, which is, it's based off of the ideology or the concept of a compass, right? Which needs to be calibrated in order for it to work correctly. And a compass, if it's just off by 15 degrees, it will send you miles in
Mhm.
the other direction, right? And the first chapter is about self-awareness. It's called Finding Your True North, because people don't use compasses anymore. They use True North,
No.
right? So
Right.
now the compass, you still need to calibrate your mind, but you have to
Mhm.
have self-awareness, which is your true north.
True north. Yeah.
Your true north, right? And so I cover self-awareness. I'm a big proponent of that. I'm a big proponent of chasing your full potential.
Yes.
And I wrote this book for the men. I'm working on right now, trying to get funding so that I can have this book in every prison library. That's my goal.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Is
Yeah.
to have at least 10 copies in every prison library in Texas first. And
That'd be
so
pretty awesome.
yeah, that's what I'm
That's a
working on at
great
this
goal,
moment.
bro.
Yeah,
I
that's what I'm
actually
working
like
on at
that
this
as a
moment.
goal. Yeah.
For sure, I appreciate that, man. But
Yes, sir.
yeah, that was kind of that had been my journey. The major hiccups were, and you know how this feels to lose family while you're incarcerated. You can't go to funerals.
Yeah.
I end up losing my sister, who was 11 months older than me. We were very close, to COVID during the pandemic. I ended up losing my father. I think I have a drawing. One of my buddies, he oh,
Yeah.
let me show you this. This is how I did my time. To sum it up, this is how I did my time.
Yeah, that
This
works, man.
this, this was airbrushed by Fabian Flores on the Wind Unit, one of the coldest artists in TDCJ. And then this was an oil painting. This is of my sister. Of
Uh-oh.
my of my sister and my father.
Oh wow, that's an oil painting,
That's an oil painting,
man, bro. Yeah, they got down, man. That's live.
right? So
Yeah, that's good. I love that airbrush too.
she passed to COVID, and my father, rest in peace to both of them. He passed from pancreatic cancer,
Man, rest
and
in peace, bro.
I appreciate that. So that was the hardest thing for me, and it was especially when my sister died, because I wasn't as strong as I was when my father passed, right? And so I kind of went off on um, a little terror real quick, and
Yeah, yeah,
that was a dark moment, but
yeah. I've been through it, bro, and I've helped a lot of other men through it. On the inside. Yeah, it's a hard thing. Just like you talked about that first moment of self realization that came to you earlier. That's how that came to me. That was my moment. I've spoke about it plenty of times, but most important person in my life died and passed away, and I realized that I couldn't even cry because of the way I had been conditioning myself. Like I couldn't, right? And that's when like I started to get mad. Like the hell's wrong with you, man? You can't even shed a tear.
yeah,
Started to feel ashamed of myself, and that just made me more mad, right? So
yeah, yeah,
the whole cycle, but it made me look at myself and ask myself, like, what are you doing, bro? What are you becoming? Is that what you want? And all of those logical questions that followed. And yeah, big turning point in life. So I was
yeah,
right there on the same page with you, bro. Know
yeah,
exactly
man.
what you were talking about.
And
Yeah.
that's what I mean by it being two different worlds, because that's a world where you know, crying is seen as
Weakness.
super weakness,
Not even
right?
just weakness. It's a like an open call for exploitation. It's like you just
Exactly.
asking somebody to come by and try to take advantage of you, try to
Exactly.
take something of yours. Oh no, blood in the water.
Yeah.
No service.
Yep. Yep.
And that
Sad, sad
people get
situation.
conditioned like that. Like I said, for years, decades of such conditioning. Yeah, crazy. So your time on the inside. What do you think the most important lesson you learned is? Or if it's not the most important lesson you learned, what is the most important lesson you would like to pass on to other people, bro? People that may be living in a way that might lead them to the same cell blocks we've been on, if they're not already there.
A quote comes to mind by, her last name is Tugaleva. I can't think of her first name right now,
Wow,
but
too good lever.
Tugaleva. It's to know yourself, you must first sacrifice the illusion that you already do.
That
To
sounds
know
right.
yourself, you must first sacrifice the illusion that you already do.
That you already do.
We are so disillusioned about how self-aware we are. And okay, everyone is self-aware to an extent. I'm aware that I'm a human, right? I'm aware that, you know, if I pinch myself too hard, it's going to hurt.
It's going to
I'm
hurt.
aware of, right? I'm aware of these things. That's base level of self-awareness.
Right.
But statistics prove that only 10 to 15% of the world population is highly
Mhm.
self-aware. Only
Yes.
10 to 15%. So it begins with self-awareness. So my message to anybody listening to this is, you have to first begin to know yourself. I discovered in prison that I had ADHD.
Oh yeah. Never been diagnosed.
Never been diagnosed in the world. 5% of the world population, free world population, has ADHD, between 2 and 5%.
Okay.
The prison population is between 25 and 45%.
That's very believable too. Yeah.
And these are real statistics.
Yeah.
I'm so positive about these figures because I just recorded a mini podcast, about ADHD, right?
Okay.
That I'll be dropping tonight. And if it wasn't for me wanting to discover who I really was, I would have
Yes.
never taken the chance to sit down, an opportunity to sit down with a therapist, right? Which is
Mhm.
also seen as taboo. I wouldn't have sat down with the therapist and been diagnosed.
Yes, sir.
But
So
I know
how would you tell somebody to begin that path, that journey? How do you begin to become more self-aware? How do you start that process? Do you have any advice?
yes, absolutely. Well, I'll say this: the good thing about TDCJ is that they have a plethora of cognitive life skills programs, cognitive skills programs. Um,
Yeah. CIP and
that's
such. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now, if you really pay attention in those classes,
Mhm.
a lot of them just go just to pass time. But if you actually, these programs were written by psychologists.
Yes.
So if you don't want to consume all the psychology books, take a 6 week course or a 3 month course, and they'll give you the steps. I can give them, but that'll be a whole nother
Right.
podcast right
Yeah,
now,
sure.
right? On how to become more self-aware. But what I can say is for those who aren't on the inside, I'm sure there's classes out here too, but uh, introspection. Start asking yourself those hard questions. Stop
Mhm.
assuming that you know yourself. Ask yourself, who am I? Look yourself in the mirror and say, that question, and I have to say this, County jail, day one, I strongly considered taking my own life. Strongly considered it. I mean, I won't go into the details, but I strongly considered it. I was that close.
Yeah.
And it was the thought, it was two things. It was the thought of my children and my family, and it was a question. Because you know, like I know, that in county jails and in a lot of penitentiaries, they have these stainless steel plates fastened to the wall above the
Right.
toilet,
Yeah.
right?
Like a
Acting
mirror.
as a mirror.
Yeah.
And this particular plate on Murder Row in Williamson County Jail, I was on Murder Row with all murderers, but these cells aren't too nice. But this plate was all scratched up. So I'm brushing my teeth and I'm looking in this mirror and I can't see my own face. And it did something to me to where it triggered that question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't see yourself. You don't know. And that's when I asked, well, who am I?